Hello everyone, my name is Pankaj and I am going to talk about DLoader, is migration of data from SQL to NoSQL databases. So these are the topics I am going to cover. First I will talk about the relational and NoSQL databases. Then I will talk about relational to NoSQL transformation, then data loading, then data transformations and mapping, and finally I will talk about experimentation part. So firstly I will talk about relational databases. Relational or structured databases are based on relational models. Relationship can be one-to-one, one-to-many and many-to-many. Relational databases consist of tables and the tables consist of rows and columns. Means that records are stored in the form of rows and columns. One single row represents a single record. There are mainly two types of keys in relational databases. The first one is primary key and the second one is foreign key for creating reference and accessing the data. RDBMS is responsible for managing all the operations in the relational databases. Relational databases also follow the ACID properties, where ACID is atomicity, consistency, isolation and durability while making any kind of transactions. And relational databases should have a predefined schema. Means before entering the data, the schema should be properly defined. If in future the data structure of the data, if the structure of the data changes, then it is not easy to alter the schema. So schema should be properly designed before entering the data. Then I will talk about NoSQL databases. NoSQL databases have been designed to facilitate big data storage and processing. And big data consists of structured, semi-structured and unstructured data. NoSQL databases store data in various formats such as key value, column store, documents and graphs based on the structure of the database. They have their own query mechanism. Unlike SQL and like relational databases, they do not have any specific query language. Depending upon the storage structure, they have partition keys, cluster keys and collections. And NoSQL databases have denormalized structure as they do not have any primary or foreign key, so they do not support any kind of aggregation or join operations in the NoSQL databases. They also provide the features like horizontal scalability, means scalability is easier in NoSQL databases. Data replication is there, data availability and the data consistency at a lower cost. Then I will talk about relational to NoSQL transformation. The first part is data loading. The data in the relational database is stored in the MySQL, which hold a specific schema. The data is extracted from the remote server using Spark framework. I will talk about Spark framework later in the section. The data from the MySQL database is loaded into the Hadoop distributed file system. And Hadoop distributed file system is a cluster storage which consists of one name node and n number of data nodes. Also Spark SQL frameworks works in the main server, which is responsible for doing all this work. And with the help of Spark SQL, we can also perform join and aggregation operations on the data in the NoSQL databases. Data is temporarily stored in the HDFS as staging tables before applying any kind of transformations on the source data. This diagram shows the overall process of transformation and standardization from the source to the target database. The data in the relational database in the tables must be mapped to NoSQL databases from column to column. And the source database is connected through the Spark SQL framework using JDBC as a connection. And the data in the source database first extracted, and then the extracted data is dumped into the STFS storage, and then we apply transformation, and then we standardize the transformed data, and then the finally standardized and transformed data is loaded into the target database. In the whole process, Hadoop cluster serves as a middle layer between the source and the target database. Then the next part is data transformation and mapping. The data dumped into the STFS storage is loaded in a data frame of the Spark SQL framework, and data frame is created for one table at a time. Then transformations are applied on the table data contained in the data frame, which is done by keeping the target database schema in the mind. And the transformations include like adding the columns or removing the columns, merging the columns, changing the data type of the source database. All these comes under the transformations. And during the transformation process, the source table in the MySQL are denormalized to enable migration, and to enable migration between the source and the target database, which is again being done by keeping the target database schema in the mind. Then the transformed data is standardized based on the requirements, particular requirements, like for like a standard format for a date, for gender, and for example, as a particular format for a mobile number without including the +91 sign, for example. Then after performing standardization, the data is finally loaded into the target database. This is the algorithm for data pre-processing and mapping. The input the system takes is a relational database, which in our case is MySQL database, and the output we get is NoSQL database, means the data stored in the NoSQL database. The first step includes establish a connection with the source database, which we have done using the JDBC. Then create table object for source. Then dump the table objects in the STFS storage as we talked earlier. Then load the data from all the tables into the STFS storage. And for each column of each of the tables, is transformation rule is applicable, means it is possible that not for all the columns the transformation is required. So if for a particular set of columns transformation is applicable, then those columns are being transformed based on the target table columns. Then standardize the content of the columns. Then map the STFS table objects into the target table objects. Objects here are nothing but those Spark data frames, Spark SQL data frames. Then map the STFS column objects into the target column objects. Then the ninth step is construct each target table. This all work is being done using Spark framework. Then construct target object of each column, first for table and then for column. And then select partition and clustering key for each target table. As I've told earlier, NoSQL consists of partition and clustering keys. So, and the final step is we compare the partition key of target tables to keep track of duplicate records, means that data duplicacy should not be there. So with the help of partition key, we identify and compare the partition key and remove the duplicate records. This is the whole mapping process. The middle layer, as you can see here, is a relational database. These are the terms or levels in the structure of the relational database. On the left hand side, we have transformed and mapped it into MongoDB, which is again a NoSQL database, and on the right hand side we have mapped it into Cassandra database, which is again a NoSQL database. So a table in relational database is mapped to collection for MongoDB and for table in Cassandra DB. A column in MongoDB is called field, and it is again called column in Cassandra DB. Similarly, all the various mapping have been applied based on the structure of the target database. Then I will talk about experimentation part. We have performed the experimentation on a name node and 3 data nodes, and we have performed testing by varying the number of records from 10 lakhs up to 2 crore 50 lakhs records. And we have used two kinds of queries for performing the experimentation. In the first query, we have fetched a particular record from the whole given set of records, and in the second query we have fetched a particular record in a particular session based on the time measurement in a particular time window. So as you can see in the table, the data size, the first one is for Cassandra DB and on the right hand side is for Mongo database. So this is the corresponding database size from 10 lakhs up to 2 crore 50 lakhs. The data sizes keeps on increasing both in Cassandra and in Mongo database also. We have measured the throughput and response time by varying the database size. As you can see in the graphs also, the left hand side shows for graphs for query 1 and the right hand side shows the graphs for query 2. The observation shows for 26-fold increase in the database size, there is only 9-fold increase in response time and throughput decreases by 77% for Cassandra, as you can see here. The blue color line is for Cassandra and red color line is for Mongo database. And while for Mongo database there is a 12-fold increase in the response time and throughput decreases by 77% by increasing the number of records from 10 lakhs to 2 crore 50 lakhs. Similarly, we have done the measurements for query 2. For 26-fold increase in database size, there is 12-fold increase in response time and throughput decreases by 7% for Cassandra. And for Mongo database, there is 8-fold increase in response time and throughput decreases by 88%. So from the observations, we have observed that Cassandra database has performed a little bit better than the Mongo database by varying the database size. Here also you can see for the similar number of records, Mongo database has taken more space rather than Cassandra database. So finally concluding the presentation, the proposed system works sufficiently and migrates data from a relational database to a NoSQL database, which is currently implemented for Cassandra and Mongo database only. HDFS, which is used as a middle layer capable of handling huge amount of data, whether batched or stream data from different sources. And Spark framework we have used is easier to deploy and manage and has support for different kind of databases. means it can be easily scalable to other databases also. And experimentation shows the system has achieved high performance with a large amount of increasing data. Thank you.